In the village of Aguma, there lived a young orphan called Chikodi. Her parents mysteriously died when she was 12 years old. She lived alone for 2 years until her uncle Chima came from Aba one day, saw how lonely and exposed she was as a little girl, and decided to go back with her. When they got to Aba, Chima's wife Kaisha didn't welcome Chikodi so well. She put up a rude behavior and answered with her nose when Chikodi greeted. Chima told her that Chikodi would be living with them as it wasn't a good idea for her to stay alone in the village. But you would have told me, Kaisha said. I am so sorry, Chima responded. I got to the village and I saw that she had started developing breasts and gradually growing into a beautiful woman. I couldn't leave her in the village for all those young boys. You know what I mean now. Remember, she's my elder brother's only daughter, and by extension, my daughter as well. So, my dear, Chikodi had come to stay with us. She will only be living here to her husband's house. He showed Chikodi her room and told her to feel at home and ignore whatever drama his wife put off, as he caused it by not telling her of his decision before implementing it. Chikodi got relieved, as she was already frightened by her behavior. After some days, Kaisha began to like Chikodi. I mean, who wouldn't love a girl well-trained and reserved? Chikodi will wake up as early as possible, say her prayers, and then tidy up the house without being told. And once Kaisha enters the kitchen to cook, she will always be there helping out with one or two things without an iota of rebel or sadness. One day, Kaisha called her and said, I am sorry for the way I welcomed you to my house. I allowed my emotions get to me because your uncle didn't tell me you'll be coming to live with us. I know he's now your father and you have every right to stay here with us. But we agreed that nobody from my family or his will live with us, at least until we have delivered our own children or child, because we wouldn't want anyone to remind us of our predicaments indirectly or mount unnecessary pressure on us. But with these few days that you have stayed, I regret allowing you to stay in that village for 2 years alone. You are such a lovely girl, and I promise to take care of you as my own child. And even when God blesses me, you will still remain my first child and elder sister to my children. Chikodi didn't have the right words to express her gratitude. She simply hugged Kaisha tightly until they both became emotional. Chima began to notice their closeness, and one would be thinking that his prayers had been answered, seeing his wife and niece so close. But that wasn't the case, because Chima became very angry. Jeremiah 17 verse 9, the heart of a man is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Chima had an ulterior motive. The day he visited the village and saw his niece with the visible feminine features. The motive fueled the vehicle that brought Chikodi to his house, and not the loneliness or whatever reason he gave. Chikodi resumed school and was struggling with her academics. Kaisha played a predominant role by making sure that they had 2 hours intensive section after school. And after 3 months, Chikodi improved drastically. She became a lover of books and was religious with her daily readings. Chikodi's spoken English, reading ability, spelling soon became top-notch in no distant time, and she regained her self-esteem and was able to mingle freely with her mates, as she nursed a dream of becoming a media communicator. However, Chikodi's dilemma began when Kaisha traveled for her final medical checkup. She was in the kitchen preparing dinner when Chima, her uncle, came in and tickled her. She was shocked because this to her wasn't righteous. And of course, she became frightened and wished it ended in that rough play because they were alone in the house. Chima said to her, Continue with what you are doing and stop pretending because you are no longer a kid. He left the kitchen and went straight to his room to strategize on a plan that mustn't fail. Many thoughts began creeping into the heart of Chikodi that she didn't know when she added excess salt to the meal. She served the food and called her uncle to the dining. Chima tasted the food and vomited it and called her harshly. Chikodi, come here now. Chikodi hurried to the dining, hitting her legs on the sofas. Chima said, so because I tickled you, just small tiny tickle, you decided to waste my food. Chikodi was confused and she said, no, uncle, I didn't trash the food. I just don't want to eat because I am not hungry. Keep quiet, Chima interrupted. Who is talking about you trashing any food? And why will you feel hungry after cooking rubbish? Chikodi was still lost and her uncle scooped a spoon and fed her. She spat the food on her hand because it was too salty and can easily pass the taste of a poison. She apologized to her uncle and said it wasn't intentional as she was carried away. Chima said, carried away? Don't worry, you will soon define the meaning of being carried away. Take this nonsense out of here, he shouted. Chima went to a closed restaurant, ate good meal and purchased a plate of rice for Chikodi. He returned home, gave Chikodi the plate of food and said, eat, for the journey you are about to take this night is far and you will be needing strength. Chikodi collected the food, thanked him and headed straight to her room. Chima said to her, I am giving you only 15 minutes, so this one you are entering your room. Chikodi sat on the floor in her room and was meditating on what her uncle said. Eat, for the journey you are about to take this night is far and you will be needing strength. As an innocent girl, she said, where are we going to this night? It is not yet time for Auntie Kasha to return and we can't go to Aguma this night. Uncle Chima and his surprises. He will take a decision and then implement it sharp without consulting the second party. May I not get married to such a man, Biko? I like my peace. Just when she was monologuizing, her uncle called her and asked, are you true? That was only when she remembered she was on a time frame and she quickly ate the food. Chima came to her room with Nika and Siglets and said to her, enter the bathroom, brush your teeth thoroughly, have a thorough bath and use your roller because someone is about to meet with you. Uncle, this night, Chikodi asked, go and do what I asked you to do. If you were to be your mate, they would have decoded. Your own is to carry books and read, while your mates are bawling with their smartness. Enter the bathroom quick, and I'll be waiting here. Chikodi's smile reflected back to the tickle in the kitchen, and at this time, she was fidgeting. She had a bath and took longer time than usual. Chima began to boil and said, those books you have been reading, haven't you read that once a man is in dear need of what I need right now, that he will behave like a lion? Don't allow me to devour you. In fact, I'm coming right now. Chima entered the bathroom and dragged Chikodi out. Chikodi started shouting and he said to her, in case you have forgotten, you are an orphan and my wife is out of town. So if you shout one more time, I will kill you and bury you. Nobody will know. Nobody will find out. So cooperate. I promise I won't spend more than 5 minutes. Chima had his way through forcefully and injured Chikodi severely. When he was done, he saw the blood stain on the bedsheet and said to her, oh, my good niece, so you were still a virgin. Chikodi started crying bitterly and he said to her, come, let's do this quickly. Touch the blood stain. Chikodi was resistant and he shouted and said, "Don't dare me." Chikodi, who wanted to be alive to fulfill her dreams, touched the blood stain immediately. And Chima said, "Nice. Now repeat after me. If I open my mouth any day to tell anybody of what just happened, may I be crushed by a car and may my blood flow like this." Chikodi was surprised at her uncle's level of wickedness, and she stood mute, looking at him without saying a word. And Chima rushed into the kitchen, took a knife, and immediately Chikodi said, "If tell anybody of what just happened, may crushed by a car and may blood flow like this," she said, crying. Chima didn't care as long as her mouth moved to swear, as that was all that mattered at that particular time. He touched her chins and called her a good girl and said, "All will be fine, my daughter, and I will pamper you if only you zip your mouth." He left her room, and Chikodi sat on the floor and cried. She remembered her parents and wished death never took them away. At this time, African Tales by Karma subscribers and viewers, I am led to pray for you that you will not die and leave your children at the mercy of the enemies. The Lord will preserve you and provide all you need to take care of your children. And if you are an orphan watching this video, I am sending you loads of love and warm hugs from here, and praying also that the Lord will bring good people your way and cause you to fulfill your purpose on earth in Jesus' name. Amen. Now back to our story. Chikodi removed the bedsheet, soaked it in the bathroom, and refreshened up. Sleep was very far from her eyes, and she didn't stop crying. She kept on saying, "The gift I have decided to keep for my husband has been forcefully taken, not by a stranger, but by someone who was supposed to be protecting me, by someone who I thought I have found in him a father. This is just too much to bear. The death that took my parents would have just taken me too, instead of leaving me vulnerable to attacks I can't fight." The next day, she discovered she couldn't walk properly and decided to sit back at home without going to school because she doesn't have an answer to the lot of questions she'll be asked in school on why she was walking like that. At night, Chima came again and for the second time forced himself on her, even when Chikodi was crying that she was in severe pain. He said to her, "Don't worry, you will soon get used to it, and then you will start enjoying it." When he was done, he said to her, "Remember, if you mention it to anybody, you'll be crushed by a car. So be a good girl and stay alive for me." This went on for 5 more times until Kaisha returned. Kaisha noticed Chikodi was avoiding her and her countenance was gloomy and unwelcoming. She decided to show her the gifts because she thought Chikodi put up an attitude as a result of not seeing all that she had promised her before traveling. She never knew she got married to a pedophile. Chikodi only put up a fake smile when she received the gifts and said, "Thank you," casually. Kaisha didn't need a prophet to tell her that all wasn't well. And remember, she had promised to be her mother. So she simply collected the gifts, arranged them for her in her room, and said, "My daughter, I know when you are happy because that is the side of you that I'm used to. You see this Chikodi that I'm seeing right now is a broken and shattered one. My baby girl, you remember that warm hug we both shared when I promised to be your mother and you my first child and elder sister to your unborn siblings?" At this time, Chikodi started tearing up. Kaisha continued, "That hug clearly shows that you were safe in my hands, and I am open to hear anything and handle it with care, no matter how complicated it is. My child, A wise mother will fight to protect her child, no matter who is involved. What has tampered with your joy, Chikodi? What has made you this cold and by extension giving me a cold shoulder? This genuine, pure, motherly love from Kaisha made Chikodi remember her mother and wondered how a pure soul got married to a devil like her uncle Chima. Chikodi said, and Chima came into the scene and asked what the issue was. Kaisha said to him, something must be eating Chikodi up. And it is something we must not overlook or handle lightly because she has been crying. And I think she's about to open up. Chima, who knows why his niece was crying, quickly said, open up? That's good. I think you should go and rest. Let me pick it up from here. He told Chikodi to dress up because they were going somewhere. Chikodi said she wasn't interested rudely. And Kaisha said to her, that's strange. You haven't spoken to your uncle like that before. Is this something you want to say to me alone? Chima interrupted and said, woman, I said go and rest. You can't know my niece better, so go and rest while I handle. He ordered Chikodi to go dress up immediately. He took her to a leisure park and said to her, let me warn you that you must not tell anybody of what happened, including my wife. You remember that oath? And it was with your broken virginity blood, though. If you know how powerful that thing is, you wouldn't even dare to be unhappy for people to start asking unnecessary questions. When we get back to the house, always smile and make sure your auntie doesn't suspect anything. In fact, when we get home, I know she will ask you another question. Just tell her that you remembered how your parents passed and you started missing them badly when she traveled. Because she will sit with you discussing for hours. Why are we always be at work? So you started acting up because of loneliness. Is that understood? Yes, Chikodi said. Then went home and Kaisha asked. Chikodi apologized for the cold shoulder treatment she exhibited and said it was because she missed her parents. Kaisha told her that all will be well. Chikodi could not keep to the terms of her uncle. She would sit and tears will roll down uncontrollably from her eyes. One day, her uncle was talking to her about it and promised to return her to the village if she continued. Chikodi said in her mind, you would have left me in the village instead of bringing me here to humiliate and ridicule me this way. She summoned the courage to voice it out when she started vomiting. Chima said, this girl had landed me in trouble. She won't scatter my home, oh. Lie. I will act so fast. He waited patiently for her to finish and clean up. And he said to her, have my wife ever seen you vomiting? Chikodi said, no. It just started now. Chima said, perfect. Enter your room and pick your things because you are leaving my house now. Chima went into the room, gave his wife money and said, please there, I need to eat oha and fufu. Kindly go to the market and prepare it for your husband. Kaisha said, why not? Just oha and fufu. Consider it done, my darling. She said she will be going with Chikodi. But Chima said, that wouldn't be possible. As you know, this is our reading period. And I would have driven you down to the market. But I want to go to the mechanic to fix the car. Kaisha, who wanted the best for Chikodi, had no other option than going alone. Chima entered Chikodi's room and forced her to write a letter according to all that he would be saying to her. When she was done, he took her to the park, gave her a huge amount of money, and waited till the car zoomed off to Owerri. He instructed her to look for an affordable house to rent and use the remaining money for her upkeep and never return to his house in Aba or Aguma. Chikodi cried all the way from Aba to Owerri non-stop. that the passengers were just sympathizing with her. Chima, the correct planner, calculated how long his wife would spend in the markets and return home and decided to hang in the park. One of the passengers, Izu, was so keen in knowing why Chikodi was crying, and so he alighted when Chikodi did. Chikodi explained to him a few things and asked for help in terms of accommodation, at least to have a roof over her head. Izu lodged her in a hotel as it wasn't possible to secure an accommodation that day. Kaisha returned home. She opened the door that was only jammed, and her eyes went straight to the letter on the table, and she opened it and read through. Dear uncle and my mother, I am so sorry to disappoint you. I know you wanted the best for me, but I can't continue to stay with you because you both keep reminding me of my late parents. And I just discovered I haven't healed completely from the trauma of losing them mysteriously to death. Please don't look for me, as I'm not in Aba, neither am I going to Aguma. I am going to somewhere very far to heal. And please, Auntie Kaisha, I took the money you kept in your bag. Please forgive me. Kaisha sat down, but felt something wasn't right, though she couldn't figure it out, but she knew something was odd. Chima returned, and Kaisha welcomed him with the letter, and he read through like someone in shock and pain, and he said, "This girl is hardened, and God knows I have tried everything as an uncle to see her future secured. But no problem, eh? Children of nowadays," he started faking cry. And Kaisha said, "I know that something is being swept under the carpet, and my only prayer is for God to unveil it." Chima said, "Amen. God should unveil it so that we will be brought to light of this sudden strange character of Chikodi." Kaisha didn't say anything further. She simply prepared their meal, they ate, and retired to bed. After 2 days, Izu was able to secure a one-room apartment for Chikodi. She was grateful. Izu became a big brother she never had, and she shared her experience with him. Izu documented and promised to work with it after she had delivered. Back in Aba, Kaisha became pregnant, and she had mixed feelings because she hadn't heard anything about Chikodi, and her husband wasn't even bothered about it. After some months, Chikodi delivered a baby boy and called him Kosi, and Izu bought all the items needed and cleared the hospital bills and made sure she and her baby didn't lack anything. When the baby was 3 months old, Izu called Chikodi and said to her, "What do you want to do with your life?" Chikodi said to him, "I want to go back to school. I want to be a media communicator. I want to use my platform in the future to convey useful information and bring people up to share their stories so that people can learn, and then evil perpetrators like my uncle who would have shut their victim's mouth up because they feel they don't have a voice be served the judgment that they deserve." But Izu, is that possible again? I am now a mother. I don't have my secondary school certificate yet. Can I dare to dream again? Or I should just focus on my son? I sincerely don't know what to make out from this my chartered life again. Izu said to her, "Don't say that. Your life is not chartered. If you dare to dream, then you will dare to become. Actualizing it with your son might not be as easy as actualizing it alone. But my dear, you will cross the hurdle and become who and what you want to become. As life has given you lemon, you have the responsibility of making lemonade out of it. In fact, add sugar to make it sweet. The only thing you need is to be focused. You will enroll your son in a crèche and go back to school. Close your ears and eyes to mockers and focus on the goal. But I want to ask you, are you ready? I am ready, Chikodi said. I am fully ready. I am ready, Chikodi said in tears. Izu said, then let's work it out. Stop crying, because cries will not actualize your dream. They enrolled Kosi in a crèche, and Chikodi resumed in SS3. It wasn't easy for her, attending to her baby and then preparing for her exams. She pushed through and she passed excellently. Izu cunningly collected the address of her uncle and planned on surprising her pleasantly. In Aba, Kaisha delivered a baby boy and they named him Nonso. Kaisha was still not happy about the disappearance of Chikodi. She had even gone to Aguma to find out if she returned home. But nobody had seen Chikodi since she left for Aba. One day, Chima had gone to work and Izu located his house and luckily met Kaisha. Kaisha wasn't comfortable, especially because she doesn't trust anyone after Chikodi's disappearance and didn't want to gamble with her life and that of her baby. She only loosened up when Izu said he was sent by Chikodi and that Chikodi lives in Owerri with her baby. Her baby? Kaisha asked. Yes, her baby, Izu responded. A lot happened and she had always wanted to share with you, but someone has smarted you. If you don't mind, ma, this is the address of where she lives. You can come and have a conversation with her. If I don't mind, Ke, Kaisha said. Do you know how long I've been looking for her? Chikodi is my daughter, and I've not been myself since she left, so I'll be there tomorrow. Okay then, Izu said and left. The next day, Kaisha didn't mention anything to Chima. She prepared and left for Owerri, and Chima wasn't even bothered, because to him, he has perfectly sealed his evil deeds. Kaisha arrived Owerri, met with Izu, who took her to Chikodi's house. Chikodi saw them from afar and excitedly ran to Kaisha, hugged her warmly again, and they both started crying. Chikodi carried Noso and congratulated Kaisha, and Kaisha carried Kosi and saw her husband's face evidently, and she said, Chikodi, my husband did this? Chikodi said, yes, ma. And it was as if the healing wound was reopened again. Chikodi narrated all that happened and how he told her to swear with the post-coital blood. But God gave me sense, and I said on that day, if tell anybody what just happened, may crushed by a car, and may blood flow like this. I said it crying, so he didn't realize I didn't say it properly. They laughed a bit, and Kaisha said, I promise you will get justice, even if it means him spending the rest of his life in jail. Leaving him to walk freely is to endanger another young girl. And who knows, it may be my second daughter. So, my dear, now that I have heard, he will surely pay for his wicked acts. I am also sorry for not being smart enough to have decoded that day that he took you to the leisure park. Ah, Mommy Kaisha, you have not done anything wrong to me, Chikodi said. You are a woman with a heart of gold. If not, you wouldn't have come here, eh? That letter, he was the one that told me all that I wrote. I didn't collect your money, ma. I knew it, Kaisha said. I knew it that something was odd, but I couldn't figure it out. That man can kill if given an opportunity, and I won't let this one slide at all. Chikodi said to her that Izu has been a guardian angel God sent in the vehicle that brought her to Owerri, and she showed her results to Kaisha. Kaisha thanked Izu and prayed for God's continuous blessings on him. Kaisha laid down a plan on how to apprehend Chima, and it was perfect. She stayed back in Owerri and took Chikodi and their babies to Aba on a Saturday. They first stopped in a police station and made their arrest intention known. They stated all that Chima had done, and the DPO sent 4 policemen with them for the arrest. When Chima sighted them from afar, he wanted to escape, and one of the policemen targeted his leg and pulled the trigger. But unfortunately, the bullet hit his chest region and he died instantly. Chikodi and Kaisha felt so bad, but there was nothing they could do as the deed had been done already. The policeman carried his corpse and it became a government property used as cadaver for medical science student practicals. Chikodi gained admission to study media communication, while Kaisha took care of their babies. Izu prospered so well and became a supportive family friend, and Chikodi didn't lack anything in school. After several years, she graduated with the first class and became the most sought after in her field. She lived her dream by using her platform in sharing stories like hers, and she also helped orphans who had no help from anywhere. She got married to a man entirely different, and they both lived happily together forever. Hey, African Tales by Karma Tribe. I'm so certain that you enjoy the story again. But before I go, I would like to encourage anyone who had already given up on his or her dream because of an unexpected ugly occurrence. My brother, my sister, that thing didn't come to break you. It came to give you an experience. I urge you, do not allow that ugly occurrence, no matter how bad it is, to win. Use the experience gained and bounce back better and dare to fulfill your dream. That occurrence is a spice to make your story sweet, to make your story interesting. Don't give up, because God has not given up on you, and that's why you are still alive. I am rooting for you, and most importantly, God is waiting for you to stand up, to clean yourself up, and to close your ears and eyes to naysayers, so that He can connect you with the right person, just the way Chikodi was connected to Izu. Till I bring another story your way, it is a goodbye from here. God bless you.